How to Thrive in Clown World. There's a pretty decent series called Band of Brothers, a series about a few guys in World War II in Europe near the end, how their relationships were formed, etc. An interesting thing about this is the end credits. A few movies about real stories have these at the end, when they talk about what happened to the real-life characters after the end of the events depicted in the movie. The music video for Van Halen's Hot for Teacher does this in a comical way. But for the characters in Band of Brothers, there was an interesting after story that popped up for many of them. These were mostly young blue-collar types, not the kind you'd associate with the entrepreneurial type, but that's what happened to them. They formed relationships under some horrific conditions, and when they returned to the post-World War II United States. Without going too far down the economic rabbit hole, the decade or so after the end of World War II in the United States was perhaps the best time ever to start a business. For one, all the factories in the world had either been destroyed or hadn't been created yet. Two, the United States, being the winner, dictated global economic policy, and part of that was the Marshall Plan, which meant that the U.S. would loan money to Europe to help them rebuild their economies. And they, the Europeans, took that loaned money and bought stuff from the U.S. since the U.S. was the only place in the world that could build stuff. This is when the U.S. economy boomed like crazy for the decade or two after World War II. What does this mean? This means those characters in Band of Brothers who built the strongest relationship any non-family members could build came back to the absolute best time in human history to start a business. You have some guys you absolutely trust. You've got massive international demand to buy stuff. Consequently, those guys in the movie came back and started all kinds of successful businesses. Simple, easy to imagine, blue-collar type businesses, delivery services, commercial laundry services. Figuring out how to buy a bunch of trucks and create a profitable delivery service is way easier than trying to outkill a bunch of Nazis. So for people living during that time, this was the best time ever to make a ton of money. Very little thinking was required. Show up to school on time. Do what your teachers tell you. Graduate like you're supposed to from high school. Walk around outside until you see a factory. Apply for a job and boom! One income that's enough to support a family living in a nice house in the suburbs. Today is the absolute opposite. Not only is it much, much harder to find your way, there are a cajillion distractions. Massive success is possible. It just takes a lot more work than it used to. Step one is to remove all those distractions. Step two is to point your brain towards some kind of ambition. Step 3 is to never stop moving forward. To learn more, visit mindpersuasion.com/3x3.